Hey, Mary, back with another video. It's 10:39 a.m. It is January 8th. I think it's Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. I'm gonna shut this curtain because it's a little too much light coming in here. So, I've been up this morning and working and looking for, this crap that I need to take care of. So I decided to take a break from it all and make this video. And I did some thinking last night and this morning, because I was like, when I talk about those issues that happened to me in the past, my brain literally feels like somebody's squeezing it. It's very weird, to me to wake up to a reality that is shocking. It's quite shocking. But I did some thinking last night, and I realized that it's going to take some time before I get over this. I probably never will, because it will shape certain parts of my life. And it certainly confirms the feelings that I've had about people. And I don't want it to come off as like, antisocial, because I'm not. I'm a very warm person. As a matter of fact, I would love to meet people and talk to people again. But I actually stated something about that on Facebook last night, and I got some support. There was a girl that used to live here. She's no longer living here in this town. She moved, and it was unfortunate that I didn't get a chance to really get to know her as well as I wanted to. It's just that this issue was dangling over my head for a very long time. Me continuously trying to figure out what was going on. Why was this happening? And now that I figured it out, I have to say that there's parts of me that is even more disturbed than when I didn't know what was going on. But, I'm hoping that eventually the knowledge that I have is going to soothe me or help me deal with it a little bit better. So it's not, I don't know, just get used to the idea is what I'm saying, is get used to the idea of these other people who did this to me, and know that this is what their face is. This is their true face. And that's like, scary, because I think about the times that I had been around them, and it's just, I'm not going to go on to that, but it threw me. It really did. So anyway, trying to stay in a positive mood today, and so I have errands to run later on this afternoon, and I'm just, feeling that there's a lot of things about me that sometimes I think I don't want to make a big deal out of myself, but there's people who aren't involved in this who make a big deal out of me, and that bothers me, because my life, when I look at my life, I believe that my life is normal. Okay, and I know that other people look at me a little strange because of, I guess I am different. But to me, I'm just a product of my environment, or a response to my environment, in ways where, like, if you were raised in a family that bullied you, you're going to be a little harder. Some people get weaker. Some people succumb to it, and then some people they realize how wrong that it is, how wrong the behavior of, maybe if they are aware of it, their family being responsible for it, then they accept it, or when they realize that the reasons why they've experienced the things that they've experienced is because of their family, such as in my case, they become hardened, like, and in this case I believe I've become hardened, but it's actually for the better, because I have to stand up for myself in a world where people rarely understand my point of view, and it's easier to fall into the idea of the majority being right. Like, for example, people followed my family, particularly my ex-brother-in-law, because of him looking like everyone else. Okay, but people need to understand that there's more to it than just being partial and foolishly being led into I guess what you would call it, a family issue, and then only being biased to that one side of the story, or being, leaning towards favoritism because this particular person put a bug in your ear about another person, so you're instantly going to agree with this particular person. Okay. Anyway. And I just, when I moved here, my thing was just to find a decent little job, raise my son, you know, and that's it. And live a very quiet, peaceful, like, life. Like, almost be non existent. You know what I mean? Seriously, I just really wanted a peaceful life, and I didn't want a bunch of people knowing me. So I resent that, I was targeted by so many people. And I just it wasn't handled correctly. This whole thing was not handled correctly. Anyway, so yeah, people, I think my ex family, they knew me as a kid, and then interacting with other people that I work with, then they obviously see that I'm different. Like, there's something different about me from when I was younger. And really, I would have to say that I don't think I'm that much different. The only thing is I'm able to express myself more, meaning that if something bothers me, I'm not going to keep it into myself anymore. Like, when I was younger, I would just go into my room, just kind of go in my room and, like, think about how screwed up that particular person was or whatever. And then that was it, But, like, I never really verbalized what was going on with me, why all these weird things were happening around me. And because I didn't know myself, I didn't know that, like, my family was bullying me. I knew certain times that they would do it, like, in my face. They would kind of bully me, like, directly. But I didn't realize that they were actually setting people up and putting, like, these operations in place, And so it took me a long time to figure that out. So now that I know, I guess, this is how I am. And it's kind of odd for a lot of people who used to know me to see me as an adult because I'm so different. I'm different, meaning the way I'm more, I've become so disgusted by the ill treatment and the foolish behavior of certain people that, and I know it's wrong. I know inherently that it's wrong. I know inside of myself that it's wrong. I know based off the law that it's wrong. I know based off any sort of, like, human rights issue that it's wrong. Especially, we're going to focus mainly on the law. I know that this would happen to me was wrong. And for many years, I have been feeling, little bits of these little injustices, whether they be, rude remarks from an employer, or a coworker, or whatever, things that really should not be taking place in the workplace that seem to come out of nowhere. It seems to just come out of nowhere, and I couldn't figure it out. And now that I do know, it's like, sometimes you have to evaluate the issue and look at, like, how long an issue has been going on. How was my life affected? And I think of year after year after year of a constant state of worry, a constant state of depression, a constant state of agitation, trying to put forth an effort to do your best at work, and then someone wants to trivialize what you need to do in order to take care of yourself. And it's not a funny issue. It's not a funny issue at all. It's a very serious issue, and because it says, number one, that people that you knew never wished you well, or it means that they are dehumanizing you to the point of where they simply don't care if they are creating these problems for you in the workplace. And, sure, I would say the fact that I grew up differently, or I'm a little different than most people, does have an issue. But see, I think their attempts. See, when you see you find a person like the kid, like, for example, a kid on a playground, right? A kid on the playground, who wears Coke bottle glasses, who, like everybody else, like playing handheld computer games, but he's still old school. Like, he likes playing, like, ball and jacks, and hopscotch and just stuff that people don't do. They just don't do that stuff, right? So they want to bully this kid and make him more modern, make him more like everyone else. And this is what he is. Now, there's one thing where you want to show someone. You want to say, hey, maybe you'd be interested in this. But they always have the option to choose whether or not that's truly an interest of theirs or not. And they can either accept it or they don't. And it's not for anybody to get angry or be aggressive in any way, shape, or form if this person chooses not to go your path. Even a kid of today, of this day and age, if they like playing hopscotch and ball and jacks and jump rope and all these things that people have long forgotten, they don't do anymore, well, then this person's a unique individual. And they have the right to live that way. They could sit there and pretend to be that they're interested in these particular things, but they are miserable inside. It does nothing for them. And so then they're going to forge friendships with people who are constantly forcing them to live a certain life that's not normal for them. And then there's going to be resentments eventually. And that's already a resentment right there. You can't make people into what you want them to be. It's not, you can offer them, you can show them certain things, but if they don't like it, they don't mesh with it, it's not, something that they can easily adapt to, you don't use aggressive behavior. You don't act out aggression. You don't bully a person. And see, I think bullying gets the best of people. Like it literally comes over them, and they don't realize they're bullying. They really don't. They don't. Okay, but let me just explain to certain people who have Neanderthal thinking, who are incapable of understanding that this is not the proper way to behave. Okay, it's not the proper way to behave. There are unique individuals in this world, or different people in this world. I don't think that I'm that different. Okay, yeah, there are certain things that are different about me, but I mean, like for example, if people were to erase my skin color, okay, and I was to walk, I mean, there's certain outfits that I do have that might be a little bit more, I don't know, funky, but I'm wearing them on my own time. You know what I mean? I'm not rolling into work wearing these funky outfits, okay? And really, I haven't been wearing anything funky in a long time. Really, you know what I mean? I haven't been. Anything odd or anything like that, But I will say I do enjoy odd pieces. Some ethnic type clothing, or whether it's something like retro or something. I do. Clothes are a passion of mine. I do like them, okay? But I haven't had any time to wear anything like that in a long time. And I think... but if people have those hobbies, those passions, then that reflects in everything that they do. Is that a sin? No. It's just I like those things, and those are the things that I like to, focus my attention on. Those are my hobbies. Okay, maybe some other person, like I remember somebody told me like, oh, you're getting too old for sewing, but then they turned around and said something about maybe I should take up knitting instead. Okay, well, one, you could wear them, you could make things, you could sew things for your bed, you can knit things for your bed. Why is that different? Why is there an age limit? And I think, you hear all these like nitpicky type conversations that swirl around you, and that's fine if people have their opinions. That's fine if people like their own things and they want to show me the good things that they're enjoying. And I might think that that's great too. I might like it and compliment it, but I may not try that myself. I might try it myself and then find out I don't like it. But it's not something that you should ever bully someone over. And I think there's always like this ego trip, this continuous ego trip that I was having to deal with, and defending myself for things that I don't have to defend myself for. I don't have to defend myself for doing anything. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Okay, like for example. You go to work or you go to a job interview, then there's certain forms of attire that are standard, that are expected to be worn. That is, like there's certain color themes. Like for example, most people in offices do wear black, beige, navy blue. I like navy blue a lot. These kind of colors, they're professional colors, okay? And I know that's the colors, or those are the earth type tones, or whatever you want to call those things, are the common thing that people wear at work. Okay, that includes slacks, dresses, skirts, uh, dress coats, whatever. However, some are more professional than others. Okay, and then you have like your business casual, where jeans are accepted, and then you might wear like a nice jacket or something, and a nice shell or blouse underneath it. That's understandable. Okay, these are the kind of items you can look it up, like Google it, and find out what women and men wear for those particular things. And I'm in those guidelines. I'm in those guidelines. You know what I mean? So I know that the hair issue, but there's a lot of women who wear fake hair. Lots of women. And I'm not going to argue this anymore because, like I already said, I've already made my decision. I'm moving on. I'm looking at other options. Okay, I'm keeping my options open, is what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm working on limited resources because of all the bullshit that got started. But I'm just saying is that these things aren't worth threatening someone or bullying them or putting them in situations where they feel they have to be like, I'm being punished right now for, I believe, eating apples at my desk. When I was growing up, those are the standard things that my parents put in my lunchbox. Believe it or not, as an adult, I don't eat Hostess treats. Okay, I don't eat Hostess treats as an adult, and I personally think that's the lowest quality crap you could ever eat. Now, I do like desserts every once in a while, like for the holidays or whatever, and I prefer to have something a little bit more decadent than, what do you call it, like a ding dong or something like that. Okay. I don't, I eat sweets every once in a while, but I don't eat them a whole lot. You know what I mean? I don't. And I can see where all the consumption of a lot of sweets and sugary things that I used to eat when I was younger, how that affected me in my body and how it felt. Okay, it's not about maintaining a certain weight. It's about, I would say in my mid 20s, and I kept this a secret for a very long time. And I know I talked about body aches, body pains, but I will tell you that I was a very sickly person in my 20s, all the way up to like my 30s. Okay, I was very sickly, and I hid it very well, because I'll tell you, I always had swelled legs. My backs of my thighs were always burning. My feet were always burning. Seriously, like these sensations and these pain, and I would go to the regular doctor and talk to them about it, and then I would get some fluff and filler, and maybe a prescription or two or whatever. But I realized it's like I was eating sugar, sweet stuff all the time. If people knew me from high school, people knew that I would have things like Rolos for breakfast, Rolos and a can of Squirt soda, and that was my breakfast. Seriously, okay? And then like I would sit there and like go to the donut shop, and then I ate more junk food than I think the average person did. And seriously, I would order pizzas, big pizzas, eat them all to myself. I seriously would, okay? And don't ask for a slice, because I would literally cuss you out or whatever. Okay? And I would drink beer like there was no tomorrow. Okay? And then every day, after all of that, I would sit there and then like just lay on my couch, and I would play with my son, and then I would also be very sad about what was going on at work, depressed all the time, and I was sickly all the time. Okay, I really felt sick in my body all the single time, but I had to get up and go to work and put up with stuff. So I did a lot. I put up with a lot of stuff just so I can get to the point of making sure that my son was raised. Seriously. And I'm very glad that I at least made it that far, and that I was able to have decent paying jobs during that time, even though it was hell, even though I was treated like garbage, even though it was a nightmare having to deal with people turning on you and being an asshole to you and acting unnecessary in unnecessary bullying ways. But at least I got that done. I got my son raised, So if I do owe anyone any thank yous, then thank you for doing that. But you also created more problems for me that I thought were unnecessary and unwarranted. Okay? So, I get upset because it's like, people have the right to make improvements in their life. If you're a sickly person, which I was a sickly person, very sickly, okay, and I'm still feeling the effects of it now. Every once in a while, I'll have a flare up. Like, for example, if I eat too much of one thing, like for example, you can eat apples. If you eat too many apples, then your body is going to become out of balance. It's like, I understand certain things should be balanced, and if you go to one extreme, then you're going to have more aches and pains. So you somehow have to keep balancing it throughout the day. I understand that. You know what I mean? And I understand it well, how it works for my body. And I know, I am interested in alternative healing methods. I am extremely interested in that stuff. You know? Um, Sometimes, because I experiment with my own body. Like if I'm sick or something's bothering me, then I get those. I use those things. You know what I mean? I'm more likely to turn to herbs or some form of natural healing than I am going to rush off to the doctor. And most of the time, the doctors never hear up to me. Not really. So this works for me. It works for me, and I like it. You know what I mean? And so, healing illnesses or ailments or something is kind of my thing. I'm kind of into that stuff. And so, but I should never have to explain that to anybody. Some people might find it interesting, but I think maybe my family thought, well, look at her. Look at her. She's wearing a wig to work, and she's eating apples at her desk. And then I do occasionally go out for walks. I do. I mean, I went for walks more when I was living over there at my old house when I was with Joel. I was going for walks more often, okay? But I've been, like, very depressed, and I know that I've been overthinking a lot. And when I overthink a lot, I personally think that could spin you into some sort of disaster, whether that be a heart attack or stroke. So I'm trying to take it easy. So every once in a while, I do go out, and I would like to pick up the pace and start going up there a little bit more. And I shouldn't be penalized for that. I get stuck. I'm crammed in the house all the time. You know what I mean? Especially now. Okay, I'm crammed in the house. I don't have money right now. I don't have anything. So it's like, well, what can you do to change up the routine? You can go to different rooms. Like yesterday, I took my laptop, instead of being in my laptop, using my laptop in my bedroom, I sat it in my kitchen. Okay, but then you know what? You're still in the same damn house. You need to see different things. Okay, and you can't just go out shopping, even to the dollar store, because when you're on a tight budget, you could sit here and spend a lot of money at the dollar store, and just because it's $1, you go crazy over there. Okay, so the best thing for you to do is just find something else to do. So what's the only solution for me is go for a walk. Now I'm not doing any, like what you call, heavy jogging or wearing exercise gear or anything like that. If you look at my tennis shoes, they're probably just regular tennis shoes. Sometimes, but I don't really buy athletic shoes because I'm not really actively walking like some people would, who are like trying to burn calories or something. But if that was my choice, I have every right to. You know what I mean? And what bothers me is the fact that I'm dealing with this sort of possessive behavior from people who I'm divorced from. You know what I mean? I don't want, that's one of the issues why, it kind of bothers me. It does bother me because it's like, it's twisted off to me. It's sick, and it bothers me, okay? I don't want to continue arguing the issues anymore. You know what I mean? People have the right to live how they want to. And I don't like to, I can't help but wear some of my my uniqueness out in the public forum, or I can't hide all of it, because you know what, my skin is brown. This is the color of my skin. I'm a black woman. You know what I mean? I can't change that. That's one thing, okay? But the white chick that's standing next to me is wearing jeans while I'm wearing jeans, and she's wearing boots and I'm wearing boots, and she's got a sweater and I got a sweater. I might look odd because I look odd and different because my skin is different among all the other white people. And that's what it is. Maria wears a wig because she's a black woman. Because my hair's different. That's why. And it really, it's a very simple thing to understand. You know what I mean? So you know, as far as the issue of grabby people, I'm thirsty. Do I have water in here? I don't have any water in here. Grabby people who seem possessive towards me, and that's very sickening to me. And you know, I'm just trying to get by in life right now. I mean, I'm really trying to hang on to life right now. Is how I feel. I'm not. I'm not trying to be a part of some sort of cross comparison. I don't compare myself to any of the people who got involved in this. You know what I mean? My life is not in any way, shape, or form meant to challenge anybody or even create any debates. You know what I mean? Some people might not like the way that I live, okay, but I have a right to. Now, if I was to throw this out in public forum, where like I was trying to enforce other people, or I was going around to other women and saying, you know, let's burn our bras and let's do all this shit, you know, to create some sort of revolution, or stand up against a certain male-dominated establishment, okay? Which some people would probably take it that far, okay? I'm not doing that. This is an issue, though. It is an issue. Because this particular person did something to me who just so happens not even to be married to me and is making decisions, and then I got my family and bringing all this religious stuff in it and imposing their rights on me in a way that is against the law. Okay? And it forced me to say something about it. You know, if you'll notice, I don't get involved in political issues. I don't. It's like I have this way of my life where I would prefer not to involve myself into those sort of issues. And I have my reasons why. You know what I mean? And I don't always like being put on the spot to where I feel like I have to justify myself. I don't have to. You know what I mean? All you have to know is that I'm not a threat to society in any way. This sort of behavior is a threat to society. As you can see, there's so many targeted individuals. There's a lot of targeted individuals who are dealing with this very same thing, and they're in the millions, okay? Okay? There's a lot of targeted individuals, not just here in the United States, in the other countries. Okay? But what's shocking about it in the United States is because these things should be clearly defined and understood by every American citizen of the rights that we have. You know, we do have rights, okay? Maybe I don't look like you, and we tend to forget other people's rights. Meaning, we tend to forget that other people are human. Anyway, I'm saying this as, when I say we, I'm saying is people in general, okay? People in general forget, like my family, okay? My family is mixed, okay? I got my ex-brother-in-law and a few brother-in-laws. I got even a ex-sister-in-law. I got, you know, they are white, okay? And so then in my family, but they all had their own particular reasons for bullying me. Like my white ex-relatives, okay, they probably were bullying me because they may not realize it, but they do have racist views. So then they are going to kind of inadvertently, maybe, somehow overlook the fact that I'm a human being and start making decisions for me. And then sometimes people, their racism surprises them because they didn't realize that they don't see themselves as a Ku Klux Klan member, but they are shocked at the fact that they would actually deny someone their human rights. And then they realize that this is the definition of what a racist person is. Okay, racism is a very deep subject, So it's unfortunate that this issue got out in the public. Okay? And by me standing up, I am not in any way trying to, you know, stir the racial pot. I'm not. As a matter of fact, when I left the farmer's place, my mouth was shut. I didn't say a damn thing. Because I felt like something like that could be explosive. And guess what? Everybody else who was talking about it made it explosive. But I said nothing. I just went on to the next job, and each place I went, here this bullshit was going on over and over and over again. And it shouldn't have happened. You know? And I was the one who was accused of playing the race card. I'm not playing the race card. But they were. So I got ran over in this whole issue like you wouldn't even believe, on so many levels. From the mobbings to the gang stalking to the baiting to the choosing all my other jobs and then thinking that something was wrong with me and then trying to act like they had the right to correct my behavior. The whole behavior modification technique type thing was going on, especially from people who had no right to even say anything. Um, it just like I can't. I have layers and layers and layers of all kinds of injustices that were thrown at me. And so after a while, you either you have to say something. You have to, and that's why. Okay, so I would never ever want to be looked upon as somebody who is a hellraiser or somebody who is going against the grains of society, because I'm not. I'm not doing anything like that. Just because you're different doesn't. When somebody is a deviant, they're deviant because they are deviating from what are the established rules in society. And what determines established rules of society? The laws. The laws do. That determines how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. Obviously, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to steal, you're not supposed to kill people, you're not supposed to, what other crime can you do? I think those are the biggest things. I would say those are the biggest things. So those are things, but also when it comes to human rights, and maybe a lot of people aren't aware of human rights. They think, well, because a family person is involved in it, somebody with the name of title or they use the word family, people think, oh, well, then this means that this is an issue that's among these people and they need to hash it out, and he has every right to do what he's doing to this particular person because that's family. No, they don't. Not under the law, they don't. Okay, I am not a minor. I am not, and even just because I'm not, just because you're married to somebody doesn't mean you have the right to do something like that. And number one, biggest issue here, I'm not married to Joel. I'm not. I got a divorce certificate in my file box. I'm not married to him. Okay. Took me a long time to get divorced, finally divorce him, but I'm divorced. So this is more of a woman's issue than I realized when I met that lady over at that metaphysical place, and she was saying, make this a woman's issue. I think about that a lot, and I'm like, it is very racial, but it is a woman's issue as well. It is, because of this weird catty behavior and the bullying from women. From I believe they were mainly on the side of Joel's family as well as my family as well, but it is a woman's issue on so many levels. So anyway, I'm just rambling on. I got things to do, but I really need to take a break because I think I was just too wound up, and I was too wound up yesterday and I'm wound up today, and I'm trying to, I feel like I have so little time to get things done, and I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of paying the price continually for something that I don't have to explain myself for, or I don't have to justify myself for. And I also want to say that because a person believes in themselves, meaning that I know that I had a lot of setbacks when I was younger, a lot of setbacks, and but I know that I can do more. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that a person has to get bullied up, or people have to interrogate a person just because they feel comfortable or confident in what they're doing. That's bullying too. I mean, just like for example, a plumber does a local commercial, right? He's saying he's the best in Kern County. He's got the best quality service. He's prompt, whatever. Okay, and then people are. I know that's going to elicit a lot of controversy from competitors, right? But you don't compete in that manner. Then you have to be the best. But you don't sit here and block people and whatever. You present yourself to that employer in the best way you possibly can. And if they choose you, then they choose you. Okay? But you don't blacklist people. You don't do that sort of stuff. And I know, hey, you know what? What's done is done. Okay? I'm not begging for my accounting job again. I'm not doing that. What I'm basically saying is that there are people who live in a very primitive way. Like they don't have any social etiquette. They don't know right from wrong. They live in a very marginalized manner, and they work on animalistic type impulses. You know what I mean? It's backward in thinking, and it violates people's rights as a human being. You know, so and which I'm not doing, and which I will never allow myself to do. I will never allow myself to stoop to this sort of level ever. You know, and I would encourage anyone not to as well. It is a very bad way of living. You know, to abuse another person outright and open, and then to develop an attitude where you don't feel as though a person has, or you ignore their rights. You know, that's wrong. You know, we all have our preconceived ideas, and I know when I was younger, I had preconceived ideas too. Not anything that was ever going to hurt somebody, you know, but like, you know, I used to know some Hispanic people, and I would think that I had stupid things. I kept thinking that they could just drink hot sauce all day long, and their tongues didn't burn. And that's absurd, okay? Because obviously, you know, they have their tolerance levels as well. You know what I mean? But I thought things of other people that weren't necessarily true. Okay? But whether you have your preconceived ideas or you don't, you know, you don't act on those sort of things. You know? You don't. Or you have ideas that you personally think are better. Well, then live your life in the way that you need to. And then maybe I'll look over my shoulder and say, hey, you know, that person, they act like they really have it together. I think I'll follow their way or try to emulate some of their stuff. You know? But in the meantime, you know, you don't act this way. You don't behave in this sort of manner. It's not appropriate. You know what I mean? And so I don't feel guilty about taking my stance on what I said. And I won't take it back, because I will always feel that way. You know, what these people did to me is it's a horrible, it's a crime, it's a hate crime, plain and simple. You know, so anyway, time for me to get some water, because my mouth is literally sticking together. I'm really thirsty, and I'm continue plugging away. So I hope everyone, all the TIs out there, are being very vigilant and try to keep your head up. You know, it's a lot of you guys think that it is the government that's targeting you. It's not. Okay, some of you guys are in families that have cult-like behavior. You know, and it seems like it's a big deal, because you know there's so much of these social networks, and it seems like they are covering every inch of the United States and possibly the world, and they are in some ways. Okay, but it's not the government. Like, you know, the government might know who you are, but it's not as deep as you think it is. It's not. Okay. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back in another video later. Bye bye.